Across the United States, scattered between highways, forests, deserts, and mountains, lie towns that were once full of life but today stand in complete silence. These abandoned towns hold secrets of forgotten lives, unanswered mysteries, sudden disappearances, and events that forced entire communities to walk away from the place they once called home. When we think about abandoned towns, we imagine old Western ghost towns from centuries ago. But the reality is far more shocking. Even in modern America, especially in the past 20 to 30 years, towns have been mysteriously left behind, almost frozen in time. Houses sit with furniture untouched, schools still have books on desks, grocery stores contain expired products, and roads suddenly lead to emptiness. What happened to these people? Why did they leave so suddenly? And why has no one returned? That is the mystery behind America's abandoned towns. Some towns vanished almost overnight. In many places, residents reported strange incidents before they left: unexplained noises, lights in the sky, disappearances of pets, and a sense that something was terribly wrong. Others faced natural disasters, toxic contamination, or sudden economic collapse that forced families to run without looking back. In some cases, the government stepped in, forcing evacuations and never explaining why. In others, companies shut down mining operations or factories that held entire towns together, leaving people jobless, hopeless, and eventually gone. Yet in every story, there is a deeper layer. A set of clues that makes these abandoned towns feel like pieces of a hidden American history that most people never see. Take for example Centralia, Pennsylvania, where an underground coal fire has been burning for more than 60 years. Residents began noticing smoke coming out of the ground, strange gases leaking through the soil, and roads collapsing without warning. Some children fell into openings in the earth that suddenly appeared under their feet. The government evacuated the town and most people left, but the bizarre part is that the fire is still burning to this day. Entire neighborhoods were abandoned. Houses were removed, but streets remain, leading nowhere. Graffiti artists and explorers visit, but the place feels unsettling, as if the town is alive beneath the ground, breathing smoke and heat. Centralia is not just an abandoned town. It is a reminder that a disaster can emerge from beneath our feet without warning, silently and slowly destroying the place we once trusted. Then there is Times Beach, Missouri. In the early 1980s, residents began falling sick. Strange illnesses spread among children and pets. The soil smelled strange after rain. Investigators later discovered the ground was contaminated with a chemical called dioxin, one of the most toxic substances known. The government bought every home and evacuated every resident. People left behind toys, furniture, and memories. The entire town was bulldozed into nothing. Today, only a small sign marks where it once stood. But the stories of the residents who had to leave everything behind still haunt America. They lived normal lives, unaware that their home was slowly poisoning them. Their tragedy turned their town into an empty scar on the map. Further west, in California, lies Bodie, a frozen time capsule from the late 1800s. Bodie was once a booming gold mining town, full of bars, brothels, gunfights, and fortune seekers. But greed, violence, harsh winters, and the collapse of gold production turned it into a ghost town almost overnight. The strange thing is that Bodie still stands exactly as it was. Plates remain on dining tables as if people walked away in the middle of dinner. Clothing hangs in closets. A schoolhouse still contains chalkboards with lessons written on them. Towns like Bodie feel eerie because they remind us that human life can disappear suddenly, but the objects we leave behind remain perfectly still, waiting for someone to ask what happened and why. Some visitors report seeing shadows in windows, hearing footsteps, or feeling cold spots inside empty buildings, even on warm days. It is as if the past never fully left. But the mystery deepens when we look at modern abandoned towns, places that were deserted not a century ago, but just 2 or 3 decades back. Take Cairo, Illinois. Once a thriving river town, full of hotels, shops, and busy streets, it slowly died due to social tensions, economic collapse, and a series of unsolved crimes. Today, Its downtown looks like a set from a movie. Silent streets, broken windows, abandoned stores, and signs that still hang above empty sidewalks. Locals who moved away say they felt the town was cursed, falling apart no matter how hard people tried to revive it. It is rare to see a whole community vanish in modern America. Yet Cairo is a haunting reminder that even living towns can collapse into nothing. In the deserts of Nevada and Arizona, many small towns were abandoned due to mysterious disappearances of water sources. Wells dried up without explanation. Rivers changed their course. Entire landscapes shifted. Scientists believe it may be linked to underground changes or climate patterns, but locals insist there was something unnatural about how fast it happened. They say the land itself rejected human presence. Some describe hearing hums beneath the ground at night, vibrations that made houses shake even when no cars passed by. Whether these claims are real or not, one thing is certain. When the water vanished, the people followed. Another category of abandoned towns in America comes from military activity. In some areas, towns were quietly shut down because they were near secret test sites. Families were told to leave because of safety concerns, but were never given details. These places now sit behind fences, patrolled by security, with houses still standing but permanently off limits. Rumors spread that chemicals, radiation, or experimental weapons were involved. Others believe the government simply wanted land for classified operations. The truth is locked behind official silence, but there are also abandoned towns that hold emotional pain. Towns where tragedies occurred, devastating fires, mass incidents, sudden storms, or unsolved disappearances. People left because the place carried too many memories, too much darkness. In some cases, the trauma was so severe that entire communities agreed it was better to walk away than rebuild. These towns are rarely discussed in mainstream media. They exist like emotional shadows on the American landscape. So, what makes America's abandoned towns so mysterious? It is the combination of sudden disappearance, frozen moments in time, and unanswered questions. It is the fact that families spent decades building homes, friendships, and memories, only to vanish from the place that shaped their lives. When explorers enter these towns today, they describe an overwhelming feeling of silence, as if the town is holding its breath. Houses seem to whisper stories of those who left. Schools feel like they are waiting for students who will never return. Rusty cars sit with keys still inside. Faded photographs lie on floors covered in dust. These are not just empty buildings. They are traces of broken histories. The mystery continues because every abandoned town has a reason behind its fall, but not all reasons are fully known. Some are documented, some are rumored, and some are completely lost to time. A town might die because a river moved, a factory closed, a mine collapsed, or a disaster struck. But sometimes it is a slow disappearance. One family leaves, then another, until nothing remains but memories. And sometimes, something happens so suddenly that people never get the chance to explain. The truth is that America is abandoned. Towns are windows into forgotten chapters of the country. They are reminders that nothing is permanent, not even the busiest communities. And they are warnings of how quickly life can change. If we listen carefully to these silent places, we might learn something, not only about the past, but about the future. Because every abandoned town is a message left behind by those who disappeared, waiting for someone to finally tell their story.